I died choking on my own blood, the taste of betrayal as sharp as the knife my brother plunged into my gut. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst was hearing my parents whisper from the doorway, "She brought this on herself," as the life drained out of me on the cold kitchen floor of our family home in suburban Chicago. And then, in a blink that felt like eternity, I woke up gasping, 18 years old again, staring at the same goddamn dinner table where it all started unraveling. The fork clattered from my hand, gravy splattering like old wounds reopening. Mom's voice cut through the haze. "Alexandra, honestly, must you make a scene every night?" But this time, I didn't apologize. This time, I smiled, because I knew every secret rotting under their perfect veneers. The affairs, the embezzlement, the lies that would bury them alive. The air in that dining room hung heavy with the scent of overcooked pot roast and unspoken resentments, the kind that fester in middle-class American families like ours, where the facade of normalcy is thicker than the IKEA tablecloth. It was 2008, the summer before my senior year at Lincoln Park High, and the economy was tanking faster than Dad's latest get-rich-quick scheme. I was Alexandra Hayes, Alex to my friends, the invisible middle child to everyone else, sitting there with my elbows on the table, which was a cardinal sin in the Hayes household. Across from me, my brother Ethan smirked, his All-State soccer jersey still clinging to his sweat-dampened frame from practice. He was the golden boy, the one who'd get the full-ride scholarship to Northwestern, the one Mom and Dad bet the farm on. "Pass the peas, Alex," Ethan said, not looking up from his phone, where he was probably texting his latest conquest. I slid the bowl over, my fingers brushing the edge, and that's when it hit me again. The flash of memory from my deathbed, or whatever you'd call that linoleum held 12 years in the future. In that life, Ethan hadn't just smirked, he'd orchestrated the whole thing. The knife was his, the alibi his, and the motive? A cut of the family fortune he'd convinced our parents I was siphoning away. I'd been too trusting, too buried in my dead-end job as a paralegal, fighting for scraps while he climbed the corporate ladder on stolen dreams. But now? Now I was back, armed with the knowledge of every crooked deal, every whispered plot. My heart hammered like a bass drum in a grunge band, but I kept my face neutral, that Midwestern poker face we'd all perfected. "Sure thing, bro," I replied, my voice steady as Lake Michigan on a calm day. Mom shot me a look, those sharp blue eyes that could slice through bullshit like a Ginsu knife. She was Evelyn Hayes, real estate queen of the North Shore, with her bob haircut and pearls that screamed old money she didn't have. "Dinner's not the time for sarcasm, Alexandra," she said, her fork poised like a weapon. Dad grunted in agreement, his face buried in the sports section of the Tribune, oblivious as always to the storm brewing under his nose. Or maybe not oblivious, maybe complicit. In my first life, I'd uncovered it all too late. Dad's gambling debts, funneled through fake LLCs that Mom's agency fronted. They'd framed me for the fraud when the IRS came knocking, painting me as the ungrateful daughter who'd turned on them. Ethan just laughed, sealing the deal with that fatal stab during what was supposed to be a family reconciliation. I took a slow breath, the kind you do before diving into icy water, and decided to test the waters. "You know, Mom, I was thinking about college apps today. Maybe something in law. I could really make a difference, expose some of that corporate greed eating away at families like ours." Ethan snorted, nearly choking on his mashed potatoes. "Law? You? Come on, Alex, stick to waitressing. That's more your speed." The table fell silent, the kind of silence that echoes in empty churches. Mom's lips thinned. Dad folded his paper with a rustle that sounded like tearing fabric. "Alexandra, we don't have the money for dreams right now," Dad said, his voice gravelly from too many Marlboros. "Ethan's the one with potential. Focus on community college, get a practical degree." It stung, just like it had the first time, but this time I felt the rage coil like a spring in my chest, not hot and blinding, but cold, calculated. They didn't know it yet, but I'd already started. That morning, waking up in my twin bed with posters of Obama curling at the edges, I'd grabbed my ancient flip phone and texted my old high school buddy, Mia, the one who'd become a tech whiz in my first life. Meet me at the library. Got a business idea. It was vague, but she bit. In 12 years, she'd helped me build a startup from nothing, only for Ethan to sabotage it with insider leaks. After dinner, I cleared the plates with mechanical efficiency, stacking them in the sink while the family migrated to the living room for their ritual of bad TV and worse small talk. Upstairs in my room, the walls papered in faded florals that screamed, "Trying too hard," I booted up my clunky Dell laptop. The screen flickered to life, and I dove into the digital rabbit hole I'd only skimmed in my past life. Forums on white-collar crime, whistleblower sites, anonymous tips to the SEC. Dad's shell company, Hayes Investments LLC, was already dipping toes into murky waters, laundering his poker losses through Mom's real estate flips. My fingers flew over the keys, drafting an email to a journalist at the Sun-Times I'd read about in my future memories. Tip: local realtor Evelyn Hayes flipping foreclosed properties at inflated values, possible fraud. I hesitated, cursor blinking like a heartbeat. Send it now, and the dominoes start falling early. Too early and they might trace it back. No, better to gather ammo. I attached a screenshot of a public record I'd pulled. Nothing damning yet, but a breadcrumb. A knock at the door jolted me. Ethan poked his head in, that boyish grin masking the snake underneath.
"Hey, cease."
Mom says to keep it down. Some of us have early practice. I swiveled in my chair, forcing a smile. Wouldn't dream of disturbing the king. What's up? He leaned against the frame, arms crossed like he owned the place. Heard you talking law school.
Goo.
But real talk, Dad's stressed about money. If you want to help, maybe drop the fantasies and get a job at the mall. The words were casual, but I saw the flicker in his eyes, the same one from the night he killed me, when he'd whispered, "This is for the family, Alex. You understand, right?" I leaned back, crossing my legs. Maybe I will. But Ethan, family's everything. Wouldn't want anything to tear us apart. His grin faltered for a split second, then snapped back. Deep, sis. Night. He vanished, door clicking shut. I exhaled. The room suddenly too small. Downstairs, the TV droned on about the housing crash, families losing homes left and right. Irony at its finest. I closed the laptop and flopped onto my bed, staring at the ceiling cracks that mapped out like veins. Sleep came fitful, dreams laced with blood and boardroom betrayals. In one, I was testifying before Congress, exposing the whole rotten core, while Mom and Dad watched from the gallery, faces ashen. In another, Ethan's knife glinted under fluorescent lights, and I woke sweating, the clock glowing 3:17 a.m. The next morning, Saturday, dawned gray and drizzly, the kind of Chicago weather that seeps into your bones. I met Mia at the Lincoln Park Library, her curly hair tied back in a ponytail, backpack slung over one shoulder, like she was ready for battle. We were sophomores then, but she'd always been the smart one, tinkering with code on her dad's old PC, while I buried myself in true crime novels. "Spill," she said, sliding into the booth across from me, her eyes bright with that hacker curiosity. "Business idea? From you? This I gotta hear." I leaned in, voice low. "Ever heard of social media? Like the next big thing? Facebook's blowing up, but what if we made something for whistleblowers? Anonymous tips, encrypted, app-based. Protect people from crooks in suits." Mia's eyebrows shot up.
Whoa, Alex. That's dark.
"What's got you fired up? Boyfriend drama?" I laughed, but it came out brittle. "Family stuff. Let's just say I've seen enough to know the system's rigged. We sketched it out on napkins, basic wireframes, user flows." By noon, she was geeking out over open-source tools, promising a prototype by fall. It was the seed of what would become VeritasNet in my first life, the platform that exposed corporate frauds and made me a target. Back home, the house buzzed with false normalcy. Mom was on the phone in the kitchen, sweet-talking a client about a steal of a property in foreclosure. "Yes, Mrs. Ramirez, it's a fixer-upper, but think potential. Your equity will soar." I lingered in the doorway, catching the edge of her lie. The house was a money pit, flipped with doctored inspections. Dad was in the garage, tinkering with his '92 Buick, radio blasting Rush Limbaugh rants about bailouts. Ethan bounded down the stairs, gym bag in hand, heading to the field. You coming to watch, Alex? Or too busy plotting world domination? Tempting, I said, but I've got plans. His eyes narrowed, just a hair, but enough to confirm. The paranoia was already there, seated in his DNA like bad wiring. That night, as the family gathered for takeout pizza, Dad's treat after a losing hand at the track, I watched them like a hawk. Mom portioned slices with precision, Dad cracked lame jokes, Ethan dominated the conversation with tales of glory. I ate in silence, mind racing through timelines. In my first life, this was the night I confronted Dad about the debts, the night he slapped me and called me ungrateful. This time, I waited. Pass the pepperoni, I said casually to Ethan. He did, and our fingers brushed. I held his gaze a beat too long. Thanks. Family first, right? The word hung there, laced with venom only I could taste. Mom cleared her throat. Alexandra, you've been different lately. Everything okay? Peachy, I replied, biting into the slice. Grease dripped, but I didn't wipe it. Let it stain. Stains were honest. As the evening wore on, I excused myself early, claiming homework. Upstairs, I fired off that email to the journalist, anonymous through a free webmail. Follow the flips. Hayes Realty, Chicago. Start with 1427 Elmwood. It was small, a single property, but enough to draw eyes. Then, I opened a new doc. Hayes Family Dossier. Names, dates, connections. Ethan's shady summer job at Dad's firm. Mom's offshore account hints from tax forms I glimpsed. It was the blueprint of their downfall. Weeks blurred into a tense rhythm. School was a grind. AP classes, college fairs where counselors pushed realistic paths for kids like me from modest backgrounds. But I aced everything, fueled by ghosts. Mia and I met weekly, her coding sessions turning our napkin sketch into a beta app. Veritas, she named it, grinning. Truth hurts. At home, crack showed. Dad's mood soured. Money talks turned sharp. One night, I overheard him in the den. Evelyn, that Ramirez deal's blowing up. Some reporter sniffing around. Mom's voice, hushed fury, then bury it. Like, we always do. My pulse thrummed. It was working. But Ethan? He watched me closer now, questions veiled as brotherly concern. Who's this Mia chick? You, too, cooking up trouble? Just girl stuff. I lied, smiling. Inside, the plan solidified. Expose the small fries first, build to the feast. Let them squirm, suspect each other. By Thanksgiving, the Sun-Times ran a piece. Chicago foreclosures. Bargains or bait? Naming Hayes Realty in passing. Mom's face at breakfast was thunder. Coincidence, she snapped, but her hands shook on the coffee mug. I sipped my orange juice, sweet as vindication. World's full of them, Mom. Gotta watch your step. Winter hit Chicago like a freight train, blanketing the city in snow that muffled screams, but not secrets. By December, Veritas was live in beta, clunky, sure, but functional. Mia hosted it on a shoestring server from her basement, and the first users trickled in. Disgruntled employees, jilted tenants. One tip lit a fire under me, a whistleblower from a Loop bank, detailing how Dad's LLC had funneled bad loans into Mom's flips. I cross-referenced it with public records, my laptop screen glowing like a confessional in the dark of my room. Ethan's suspicion ramped up. He'd started dropping by my study sessions, lounging on my bed with that fake casual vibe. So, this app thing sounds sketchy. What if someone sues you for libel? I didn't flinch, typing away. Libels for lies, Ethan. We're all about truth. He laughed it off, but I caught him later, rifling through my desk drawers when he thought I was out. The snake was stirring. Christmas loomed, a Hayes tradition of forced cheer and mounting debt. Mom strung lights on the bungalow's eaves. Dad nursed eggnog laced with regret. I played along, baking cookies that hid USB drives with dossier backups. Mia taught me that trick. Gifts? I got a knockoff Coach purse from Mom, practical sweater from Dad. Ethan's haul, new cleats, iPod Nano, a nod to his stardom. New Year's Eve, the family piled into the living room for Dick Clark's countdown, champagne flutes bubbling with cheap bubbly. As the ball dropped, Dad raised his glass. To better fortunes in '09. His eyes skipped over me, landing on Ethan. I clinked anyway, the sound like a gavel. That night, alone with the fireworks popping outside, I uploaded my first Veritas tip, anonymized details on Hayes Investments loan schemes. Follow the money from First Chicago Bank to Elmwood Properties. It went viral in niche circles, Reddit's r/conspiracy, early Twitter threads. By morning, my inbox pinged with messages from journalists. One from the Tribune. Heard about your platform. Got a tip on local real estate fraud. I met the reporter, Sarah Klein, at a Starbucks in Wrigleyville, snow crunching under my boots. She was mid-30s, sharp bob, notebook at the ready. Off the record first, why Veritas? Personal vendetta? I stirred my latte, steam rising like ghosts. Let's say I've seen families torn apart by lies. This gives power back to the little guy. We talked hypotheticals, but I fed her leads, property addresses, LLC filings. By February, her exposé dropped. Suburban shell game. How Chicago families lose big on dream homes. Hayes Realty front and center, with quotes from furious buyers. Mom's meltdown was biblical. She stormed into my room that evening, pearls clutched like rosaries. Alexandra, did you have anything to do with this? That woman's article. It's ruining us. I sat cross-legged on my bed, feigning shock. Me? Mom. I'm just a kid grinding through school. But my eyes held hers, daring her to push. She deflated, muttering about haters, and left. Dad was worse, pacing the kitchen, phone glued to his ear, yelling at lawyers. Fix it, goddammit. We're clean. Ethan cornered me in the hallway later, breath hot with mint gum masking whiskey. This you're doing, Alex? Stirring shit to play hero. I tilted my head, innocent as apple pie. Why would I hurt family, Ethan? Unless someone's got secrets worth hiding. His fist clenched, veins popping like warning signs. He backed off, but the threat lingered. School became my escape and weapon. I networked like a pro, lunch with the debate club prez, who knew a guy at Chicago's entrepreneurship incubator. Grades soared. Teachers whispered about my glow-up. Mia and I iterated Veritas, adding features. AI flagged patterns in tips, secure chats. Funding? We crowdfunded via a proto-Kickstarter, pulling $5,000 from bleeding heart techies. It was peanuts, but momentum. Spring thawed the ice, but not the chill at home. Clients bailed on Mom. Dad's credit lines froze. Family dinners turned interrogations. Who's been talking to reporters? Dad barked one night over meatloaf, his face red as the ketchup bottle. Ethan pointed a fork at me. She's been weird, Dad. All secretive with that laptop. I set my glass down, water rippling. Or maybe it's karma. You flip houses on people's misery, Dad. People notice. The table erupted. Mom's sobs, Dad's curses, Ethan's glares. I excused myself, heart pounding with dark thrill. Upstairs, I checked Veritas' dashboard. 500 users, tips pouring in. One caught my eye, an insider at Ethan's summer internship, detailing how he'd skimmed client funds for personal expenses. Soccer dues, dates, poker games with Dad. I archived it, ace of my sleeve. Prom season hit, a whirlwind of taffeta and tension. I went with Jake from Calc, a quiet artist type who sketched my profile during slow dances. You're intense, Alex, he murmured under the gym's disco ball. Like you've lived 100 lives. I laughed, but it ached. Something like that. Ethan was there too, king of the court with his cheerleader arm candy, but I saw the cracks, his forced smiles, the way he scanned rooms for threats. Post-prom brunch at and Sather's, cinnamon rolls steaming, Mia grilled me. This revenge vibe, it's consuming you. Who's the target really? I pushed pastry around my plate. Everyone who ever said I didn't deserve a seat. Starting with my own blood. She squeezed my hand. Just don't lose yourself, okay?
Too late for that.
By summer, Veritas hit 10K users, media buzz growing. TechCrunch called it the WikiLeaks of the Midwest. Investors nibbled. A VC from Silicon Valley emailed. Intrigued. Coffee in the city. I took the L downtown, nerves jangling like loose change. The meeting was at a hipster cafe in the Loop, all exposed brick and overpriced pour-overs. Victor Lang, mid-40s, venture capitalist with a shark smile. Bold concept, Alexandra. Risky, though. Legal minefield. Risk is the point, I said, meeting his gaze. People need this. I'll handle the heat. He leaned back, steepling fingers. Seed round? $250,000 for 20%. But prove traction. I nodded, sealing it with a handshake that felt like fate's cold grip. Back home, the headlines waited. Hayes Realty sued for fraud, family business in crosshairs. Mom was packing boxes in the office, tears streaking mascara. We're losing the house, Alex. Everything. I paused in the doorway, pity warring with justice. Maybe it's time to come clean. The truth sets you free, right? She whirled, eyes wild. What do you know about truth? You're just a child. Am I? The words slipped out, laced with 12 years of graveside wisdom. She froze, then turned away, shoulders heaving. Ethan burst and then, face ashen. Dad's talking bankruptcy.
And cops.
Someone leaked the books. I met his stare, unblinking. Leaks happen when walls are thin. That night, sirens wailed in the distance, not for us, but close enough to taste fear. I lay awake, plotting the next move. Go public with Veritas, tie it to the Hayes scandal, without fingering myself. Controversial? Hell yes. Exposing your own family? Tabloid gold, but it'd paint me as the villain or the victor. Dad called a family meeting the next morning, bleary-eyed over coffee. We're in deep. Lawyers say fight it, but costs. His voice cracked, the invincible patriarch crumbling. Mom clutched her robe. What do we do, Tom? Ethan slammed his mug down. Find the rat. It's sabotage. My turn. I stood, voice calm as a courtroom. Or own it.
Dad, the gambling.
Mom, the flips. Ethan's schemes. Clean slate, or it all burns. Silence, thicker than fog off the lake. Dad's face purpled. You little, how dare you? Because I know, I said simply. And soon everyone will. The slap came fast, Dad's palm cracking across my cheek. Pain bloomed, hot and familiar from the first life. I touched my lip, blood beating. Hit me all you want. It changes nothing. Mom gasped, Ethan smirked, God, that smirk. I grabbed my bag, keys jangling. I'm out. Don't wait up. The door slammed behind me, Chicago's summer heat swallowing me whole. Freedom tasted like exhaust and possibility. At Mia's, crashing on her couch, I fired up the laptop. Veritas update, exposing the exposers, a founder's story. Drafted it raw, first-person fury, the betrayal, the knowledge, the fight. Hit publish at dawn. By noon, notifications exploded. Shares, comments, interview requests. Victor called. Holy shit, Alex. That's ballsy. Round's yours, double it. The Hayes house burned in effigy online, but I was rising. Yet as sirens echoed again, this time, real, pulling up to our curb, I wondered, was this revenge, or just the start of my own unraveling? The fallout from my Veritas post was a media cyclone, sucking in everyone from local news vans clogging our cul-de-sac to CNN pundits debating family vendettas in the digital age. I watched from Mia's basement, her setup a hacker's haven of monitors and Red Bull cans, as the story metastasized. Daughter outs parents' fraud empire, hero or homewrecker, blared the headlines. My phone, upgraded to a BlackBerry on Victor's dime, vibrated nonstop. Reporters, trolls, even a distant aunt disowning me via Facebook. Mia's eyes widened at the screen. Alex, this is nuclear. You named names. Ethan's gonna flip. Let him, I said, popping a migraine pill. My cheek still throbbed from Dad's slap, a purple bloom in the mirror that screamed survivor. But inside, doubt gnawed. In my first life, exposure came too late after the frame job, the trial, the prison stint that broke me before Ethan's knife finished it. This time I was flipping the script, but at what cost? Sleep evaded me, replaced by visions of Mom's hollow eyes, Dad's defeated slump. Cops hauled Dad in that afternoon. Embezzlement charges, wire fraud. Mom followed voluntarily, lawyered up but leaking tears to the cameras.
Ethan?
He vanished, phone off-grid, probably holed up with his trust fund girlfriend in Evanston. I didn't tip them, let him sweat. Victor flew in from the valley, all khakis and charisma, meeting me at a WeWork knockoff in River North. You're a lightning rod, kid. Investors love controversy, means you're disruptive. He slid papers across the table, term sheet for $500,000, equity stake. Build the team. Scale it. I signed, pen scratching like claws on wood. Team? Got anyone in mind? Silicon Valley sends its regards. But first, PR, spin this as empowerment, not revenge. Empowerment. The word tasted like ash, but I nodded. That night, over deep dish at Lou Malnati's with Mia and our new advisor, a jaded ex-Google engineer named Raj, I plotted. Features: blockchain for tips, AI redaction, partnerships with ACLU, EFF. Raj nodded, folding his slice. Solid. But legal? You're a lawsuit magnet. Bring it, I said, sauce smearing my chin. Defiance was my new lipstick. Backlash hit hard. Online, I was saint or sinner. Alex the Avenger trended alongside Hayes Hater. Trolls dox Mia's address. We move servers to a VPN fortress. Family? Radio silence, except a certified letter from Mom's attorney. Cease and desist. Defamation claims. I forwarded it to my pro bono lawyer, a Veritas user, a fierce Latina from Pilsen who'd exposed cop corruption. Trash it, she emailed. Truth's your shield. Summer faded into a blur of all-nighters and depositions. Veritas downloads spiked, 50K, 100K, tips flooding from coast to coast, pharma price gouging, gig economy abuses. I testified before an Illinois Senate committee, voice steady under Klieg lights. This isn't about one family. It's about systems that protect the powerful. Senators nodded. Cameras flashed. Ethan resurfaced then, a ghost in my DMs. You happy now, sis? Dad's rotting in county. Mom's selling the house to pay bail. I stared at the message, thumb hovering. Karma's a bitch, I typed back. Ask her about the affair with your coach. It was a low blow, a secret from the dossier. Mom's fling to relieve stress, covered up with alimony threats. Ethan's reply, radio silence. But I knew it landed. Fall semester at UChicago started with fanfare, full scholarship, courtesy of a Veritas-inspired donor. Campus was a bubble of ivy and ambition, lakeside paths crunching underfoot. Dorms buzzed with my notoriety. Kids whispered, "That's the girl who nuked her family." I leaned in, hosting hackathons, pitching to profs. Raj relocated, turning our beta into a sleek app with venture polish. But tension simmered. One rainy October night, as I walked back from a lecture on ethics, irony much, a figure stepped from the shadows near the quad, a hooded sweatshirt, familiar slouch. Ethan. Alex, he hissed, grabbing my arm. Rain slicked his hair, eyes wild. We need to talk. I yanked free, pulse racing.
Cops then.
Or Veritas. I've got a live stream button. He laughed, bitter. Always the drama queen. Look, this has gone far enough. Dad's trial's coming. Drop the tips, or it'll get ugly. Uglier than stabbing your sister? The words escaped before I could cage them. His face drained of color. What the fuck? You're crazy. Am I? 2021, kitchen floor, your knife. Ring any bells? It was a gamble, testing if the universe's cruel joke looped only for me. He blinked, confusion flickering. You're high.
Just.
Back off, Alex. For Mom. I stepped closer, rain mingling with tears I refused to shed. Tell Mom I said hi.
And Ethan?
Next leak's yours. The internship skim? Child's play compared to college bribes. He recoiled, vanishing into the storm. I bolted to my dorm, barricading the door, calling campus security. Paranoia? Or prescience? Either way, it fueled me. Veritas hit 1M users by Halloween, partnerships rolling in, ProPublica integration, TEDx invite. Thanksgiving approached, a hollow echo. I skipped the haze remnants, opting for Mia's chaotic Italian spread in her off-campus apartment. Turkey, tiramisu, talks of IPO dreams. You're changing the world, she toasted. Or burning mine down, I countered, clinking glasses. Black Friday brought the twist, a Veritas tip, uploaded anonymously, implicating me. Veritas founder Alexandra Hayes using platform for personal vendetta, hacked emails prove collusion with journalists. Screenshots attached, faked, but damning. My carefully curated emails, twisted with deepfake timestamps. Panic surged. Raj traced the IP. Ethan's dorm at Northwestern. The bastard had escalated, hiring a shady coder from the dark web. Lawyers swarmed. Injunctions flew. Media pivoted. Whistleblower or witch hunt? Victor called, voice tight. Damage control, Alex. Go dark for a week. I didn't. Instead, I went live, a raw YouTube stream from my dorm, hair messy, eyes fierce. This is what they do. The powerful, the betrayed. They lie, they leak, they lash out. But here's the truth. I built Veritas because I watched my family destroy lives, including mine. And yes, it started at home. But it's bigger now. Join me, or get out of the way. Views exploded, 10M in hours. Donations poured. Users rallied. Ethan denied it, lawyered up. But the mud stuck. Dad's trial loomed, Mom pleading guilty to lesser charges for a plea deal. I attended the hearing, back row, anonymous in a crowd. Dad in orange, shackled, eyes meeting mine across the courtroom. No plea for mercy, just a nod, resigned. After, in the marble hall, Mom cornered me. Gaunt, pearls gone, she whispered. Why, Alexandra? We loved you. Loved, I echoed, voice steel. You said I didn't deserve a seat. Remember? Her face crumpled. That was anger. Family isn't blood, I finished. It's choice. You chose lies. I choose truth. She reached out. I stepped back. Security escorted her away, sobs echoing. Winter break, I holed up in an Airbnb loft overlooking the bean, coding with Raj, plotting expansion. Veritas went global, tips from London banks, Mumbai sweatshops. But Ethan? He struck again, this time physical, slashed tires on my Prius, graffiti on the door. Traitor. Police report filed. Restraining order sought. Controversial decision time. Go public with the abuse, risk painting myself victim, or counter with his dirt, escalate the war? I chose both, oppressor with my lawyer, flanked by survivors from Veritas tips. Stalking.
Threats.
This is the cost of speaking out. Headlines shifted. Stand with Alex. Ethan's soccer scholarship? Revoked amid character concerns. He dropped out, vanished to parts unknown. By spring, Veritas valued at $50 million, Series A closed. I keynote at South by Southwest, crowd roaring as I declared. Revenge?
No.
Reckoning. Offstage, Victor clapped my back. You're a force, kid. But watch your blind spots. He was right. The blind spot was me. The rage hollowing me out, turning allies wary. Mia pulled me aside post-panel. You're not sleeping. This fire, it's consuming you. I waved it off. Fuel for the fight. Graduation came in a blaze, cap and gown, lakefront ceremony. Diploma in hand, I scanned the sparse crowd. Mia cheering, Raj filming, no family. Freedom, bittersweet. Post-college, the empire built fast. Veritas HQ in Fulton Market, loft space humming with devs and do-gooders. I dated sporadically. A barista with tattoos, A journalist who understood deadlines but commitment? Ghosts kept me single. Then the call, summer solstice, phone buzzing at 3 a.m. Unknown number. Alex? It's Ethan. My blood froze. What do you want?
Truce. Meet me.
Coffee, neutral ground. 1 hour. Against every instinct I went. The diner off I-90, neon flickering like bad omens. He slid into the booth, thinner, eyes haunted. I didn't slash your tires. But the leak?
Yeah.
Deserved payback. Payback for what? Exposing her thefts. He leaned in, voice low. You think that's it? Dad's cancer, terminal. Diagnosed last year. He was gambling to pay treatments. Mom flipped to fund it. I covered for them. The world tilted. Cancer? In my first life, no mention because I'd died before. Twist of the knife, literal and figurative. Why tell me now? Because you're destroying what's left.
And
I need help. Veritas could expose a real monster, the clinic scamming patients. I searched his face, seeing cracks in the monster I'd built. Schemer, yes, but cornered son too. Prove it, I said finally. He slid a USB across the table. Everything. In exchange. Pull the family strings. Let Dad die free. Controversy incarnate. Shield the fraudsters for a greater good? My hands shook as I pocketed it. 48 hours. Driving back, dawn breaking over the skyline. I weighed souls. Revenge or redemption? The line blurred. The USB burned a hole in my pocket all the way to the loft. A Pandora's drive of medical bills, clinic ledgers, Ethan's frantic notes. I plugged it in at dawn, coffee going cold as files unfolded. Dr. Harlan Voss, oncology specialist in Oak Park, peddling fake cures to desperate marks, chemo scams, ghost trials funded by kickbacks. Dozens ruined, lives liquidated for snake oil. Voss's outfit tied to big pharma shadows, the kind Veritas was built to gut. Ethan's angle checked out. He'd infiltrated as an intern, siphoning data while juggling family hell. Dad scans, stage for pancreatic, 6 months tops. No wonder the frenzy. Desperation breeds devils. I paced the loft, skyline mocking my moral maze. Expose Voss, and Ethan's leaks paint me complicit in Hayes' fraud, mutual assured destruction. Bury it, and I'm the hypocrite, protecting kin over strangers. Call Mia at 7 a.m. Emergency brainstorm. Coffee run. She arrived bleary, takeout in hand, Raj trailing with his tablet. What's the play? She asked, eyeing the drive. I spilled. Ethan's plea, the cancer bomb, Voss's viper nest. Mia's face hardened. Family's a trap, Alex. You know this. But if it's true. Raj interjected, scrolling docs. Voss is radioactive. Expose him clean, use Ethan's data, but launder the source. Anonymous drop. Controversial as hell. Weaponize the enemy's gift. I nodded, gears turning. Draft the tip.
Much redactions.
Route through proxies. By noon, it was live on Veritas. Midwest Cancer Clinic exposed. Fraudulent treatments drain dying patients. Screenshots blurred. Timelines airtight. Voss's empire crumbled by evening. FDA raids. Headlines screaming. Predatory docs prey on the ill. Ethan texted. Saw the drop.
Clean work.
Dad, thanks you. I didn't reply. Instead, I visited county jail, cleared for a conjugal, irony's gift. Dad shuffled in, jumpsuit hanging loose, chemo gaunt. Alexandra. No hugs, just plexiglass and receivers. Ethan told me about the cancer. His eyes, once stormy, dulled. Should have said sooner. Pride, you know? American dream. Provide, protect. Failed at both. Why frame me? In the future, I mean. The words tumbled, reckless. He frowned. Future? Girl, you're talking nonsense. Timeline glitch, my death undone. Memories mine alone. Never mind. The fraud. Was it worth it? He sighed, receiver creaking. For your brother?
Yeah.
He's clean now, right? I bit back the truth. Ethan's stain's indelible. Maybe. Plead out. I'll fund treatments, private.
Nostrines. His nod was weary.
Why? Because ending cycles beats vengeance.
Lie?
Half-truth. The rage still simmered, but diluted. Mom waited outside, chain-smoking in the visitor lot.
Heard you pulled punches.
Thank you. Don't, I said, unlocking my car. This changes nothing. Sell clean. Go straight. She clutched my arm, frail. Come home? For him. I pulled away. Homes where the heart isn't broken. Back at HQ, the team toasted Voss's fall, craft beers, high fives. But sleep brought nightmares. Dad's knife-wielding ghost, morphing to Ethan's plea. Wake sweating, check stocks. Veritas valuation soared, $200 million whispers. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting campus paths as I guest lectured at UChicago. Ethics in tech, crowds packed. Q&A turned personal. Ms. Hayes, was family betrayal worth the empire? I paused, my cot. Betrayal builds bridges or walls. I chose doors, kicked them wide. Applause thundered, but inside, fractures grew. Victor pushed expansion. NYC office, DC lobbyists. Raj warned burnout. Mia staged interventions over Thai takeout. You're disappearing, Alex. Ghosts win if you let them. Ethan reemerged sporadically, updates on Dad's hospice, coded thanks for wire transfers. I sent them anonymously, tax-deductible donations via Veritas Foundation. Controversial? Funding felons. But data showed Voss's victims compensated, a ripple of good. Thanksgiving redux. I hosted strays at the loft. Devs, Mia, a whistleblower mom with toddler in tow. Turkey charred, laughs genuine. No Hayes ghosts, just gratitude. December brought the holidays, Chicago's magnificent mile twinkling like false promises. I walked it alone, crowds parting, fame's invisible cloak. A newsstand screamed, Veritas founder eyes IPO, from family feud to fortune. Subhead, Hayes patriarch nears end, daughter's shadow looms. Guilt nod. Hospice visit. Dad bedridden, tubes snaking, mom vigilant at bedside. Alexandra, he rasped, hand skeletal.
Proud.
Despite it all. Tears pricked, unbidden, unwelcome. Rest, Dad. Ethan in the hall, gaunt but grounded. He's stable. Thanks to you. Don't thank me. This erases nothing. The schemes, the sabotage. He nodded, eyes down. Knew about the knife thing? Your rant. Thought you were bluffing. Wasn't. The admission hung, a bridge or bomb. He swallowed. In my head, yeah. Nightmares.
But.
I wouldn't. Couldn't. Lie or absolution. I let it lie. Watch Mom. No more schemes. New Year's Eve, loft party raging, fireworks over the lake, champagne toasts to 2011. Victor cornered me on the balcony. City lights sprawling. Bigger fish, Alex. Government contracts. But politics? Dirtier than family. I sipped, wind whipping. Bring it. I've got practice. The controversial pivot. Veritas partners with DOJ whistleblower program. Official. Sanctioned. Critics howled sellout. But tips surged. Takedowns tripled. Ethan started coding gigs freelance. Clean slate tentative. Dad slipped away mid-January. Quiet obit in the trib. Thomas Hayes. Loving father, businessman. Funeral small. Rain-lashed cemetery. I stood apart. Black coat sodden. Eulogy unspoken. Mom approached post-burial. Umbrella shared. He forgave you. Or I him. I murmured. Handshake, then goodbye. Spring bloomed with Series B. $100 million valuation. Board seats filled with suits. I keynote Web Summit in Lisbon. Jet-lagged but electric. Truth isn't neutral, it's a weapon. Wield wisely. Back stateside, the twist uncoiled. Anonymous tip to Veritas, my own. Founder Alexandra Hayes. Past life lies? Docs suggest staged family drama for PR. Forged psych evals. Leaked therapy notes claiming I fabricated the betrayal for sympathy. Source? Traced to Voss's disgruntled ex-partner, grudge-fueled revenge. Media frenzy. Is Veritas built on fiction? Crisis mode. Presser, live fact-check. Slander. We've sued. But doubt seeded. Users dipped 10%. Stock whispers soured. Ethan called. Need help? I know coders who trace deepfakes. Hesitation then. Yeah, but this makes us even. We met in neutral Milwaukee, coffee shop anonymity. He brought a thumb drive, counterhacks, metadata exposing the forger.
Voss's ghost, he said.
Guys out on bail, gunning for you. United front. I dropped the counter tip. Voss rearrested for witness tampering. Headlines flipped. Veritas vindicated. Valuation rebounded. Trust restored. Summer solstice again 1 year on. Loft dinner. Mia, Raj, Ethan tentative invite. He showed. Awkward but earnest. Heard about the IPO roadshow.
Congrats.
Thanks. Plates passed. Stories swapped. No deep dives, just surface thaw. Post-meal, balcony chat. Why help? I asked, city humming below. Family, he said simply. Twisted as it is. I nodded, walls cracking. Forgiveness? Not yet. But possibility. As fireflies danced, or were they drones? I realized rebirth wasn't just revenge. It was rewrite. The ending? Open, tense, American as apple pie a la mode, sweet, messy, ever unfolding. The IPO loomed like a guillotine or grail, depending on the boardroom mood. Fall 2011. Veritas filed S-1 with the SEC. Prospectus thick as a Bible, detailing our ascent from basement beta to billion-dollar beacon. Wall Street salivated. The transparency play. Analysts cooed, but sharks circled, sniffing for blood in the family feud fine print. Victor quarterbacked the roadshow. New York, London, SF. Me in power suits and pitch-perfect poise, selling vision over vendetta. Truth scales. I declared a suits in glass towers, slides ticking like heartbeats. From Chicago kitchens to global boardrooms. Applause, handshakes, but whispers followed. That Hayes girl, drama queen or dynamo? Ethan stayed peripheral, a shadow consultant via encrypted Slack. His hacks fortified our servers against Voss wannabes. His insights sharpened threat models. No heart-to-hearts, just code and coffee runs when paths crossed in the Windy City. Mom? Remarried quietly to a retiree in Florida, real estate license shelved, occasional Hallmark cards. Thinking of you. Proud.
Proud.
The word chafed, a half-truth in cursive. I filed it away, focusing on the frenzy. Mia climbed to COO, her curls now in a sleek bob, wrangling hires. Raj led product, turning tips into dashboards for NGOs. Team ballooned to 200, Fulton Market HQ a hive of hoodies and high ideals. But tension threaded the triumph. Late nights, alone in my corner office, Lake Michigan view mocking solitude, I'd replay death's echo. Blood, betrayal, that whisper. Rebirth's gift was clarity, but the cost? Isolation, a moat of mistrust. Dates fizzled, friends faded under NDAs and spotlights. Halloween Eve, a gala at the Art Institute, fundraiser for press freedom, black ties and ball gowns swirling under Chagall's windows. I arrived solo, emerald dress a nod to defiance, Ethan as my +1 a last-minute text. Moral support? He cleaned up nice, buttoned down, no smirk. We navigated schmoozers, his arm a tentative anchor. You own this room, he murmured over caviar toasts. Owns me, I countered, spotting a donor with deep pockets. Schmooze, sip, smile. Midnight, balcony escape, city lights a constellation of schemes. Remember prom? He asked, leaning on rail. You called me king. I laughed, sharp. Crown's heavy. Learned that. Pause, wind whipping. Therapy helped. The what-ifs?
About you.
My throat tightened. The knife? He nodded, eyes distant. Dreams. But Dad's mess. It warped us all. Absolution's edge. Dull but drawing nearer. Warped, not broke. Fixable. Maybe. His hand brushed mine, electric, familial. I didn't pull away. IPO day dawned crisp, Nasdaq floor electric with bells and banter. I rang the opening, gavel cracking like fate's verdict. Shares popped 40%, confetti raining, cameras blinding. Alexandra Hayes, from family fallout to fintech phenom, CNBC gushed. After party at Delilah's, jazz humming, champagne rivers. Victor toasted. To truths untold. Mia hugged fierce. You did it, killer. Ethan lingered at the bar, nursing soda. Brot, sis. For real. The word landed soft this time. Thanks. Stay in town. Thinking longer. Job offer from Raj. I smiled, genuine. Talk to him. Dawn crept, party thinning. I slipped out, driving the lakefront, windows down, wind therapy. Headlines waited. Veritas soars. Hayes' legacy redeemed? Legacy. Mine now, rewritten in code and courage. Months blurred. Acquisitions, antitrust whispers, Veritas embedding in apps from Twitter to TikTok proto. Controversies cropped data privacy suits, foreign government blocks, but we pivoted, thrived. I testified in D.C., rubbing elbows with senators who'd once eyed me warily. Personal thaw, therapy, mandated by the board, but healing in truth. Sessions unpacked the death dream, the rage root. Rebirth, I called it. Doc nodded, no judgment. Ethan integrated slow, mid-level dev, proving chops sans nepotism. Dinner's tentative, takeout at my condo, stories sans skeletons. Mom visited once. Awkward brunch in Bucktown. You've built something beautiful, she said, eyeing skyline. From ashes, I replied, but hugged back. Climax brewed in shadows. Voss's trial, fall 12. He took the stand, venomous. That Hayes bitch orchestrated it. Personal grudge, fabricated evidence. Jury murmurs, media frenzy. My testimony, calm. Cross-exam unyielding. Truth doesn't fabricate. It reveals. Voss crumbled under his own lies, convicted, life plus. Outside court, Ethan waited. You slayed. I corrected. Twist's tale. Post-verdict, a Veritas tip, anonymous, ironclad, on Ethan's old skim. Not his doing, a holdout from Dad's crew, last gasp revenge. We traced, exposed, cleared him publicly. Redemption arc, headlines quipped. By Christmas, family fractured no more, dinner at the condo, tree twinkling, no knives but carving ones. Mom's pecan pie, Ethan's bad jokes, Mia's toasts. I raised glass, to seats earned. Laughter echoed, genuine as snow falling soft. Years fast forward and memories blur. Veritas a behemoth, me CEO emeritus by 30, foundation funding global watchdogs. Ethan? Family man, 2 kids, coaching soccer sans shortcuts. Mom? Grandkids Nana, sends sunbird away in Sunshine State. Me? Married, quiet, a coder from Berlin, met at a summit, her steadiness my shore. No kids yet, but talks over coffee, future sketched. The ending? No tidy bow, life's American mess, dramatic, disputed, taught to the last. But happy? In the rear view, that kitchen floor faded, replaced by headlines not of ruin, but rise. Alexandra Hayes, the woman who gave truth a seat at the table. And damn, it fit.